Michael Fox, and this is the Prospector Podcast. And I have joining me the President and CEO of Blue Lagoon Resources, Rana Vig. Welcome, Rana.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we were both together down in Colorado at the Precious Metals Summit. We had a very good meeting, you and I, but those meetings are really short, and we weren't able to quite have enough time to record this live down there. But we get to do it today, and timing's probably better to do it today than it was down there. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of the conversation, let's give the overview of the company for those that may not be familiar with you.
Well, look, we're very excited. Yeah, Beaver Creek was fantastic. I believe, the busiest conference they've ever had in their history, and it's because everything is just the timing is just perfect right now. And with Blue Lagoon, we're about to go into production. We have a project in northern British Columbia, just outside of the town of Smithers. So, our staff can literally, they joke often that they can just grab a coffee at Tim Hortons, and by the time they're at the site, it's still warm. So it's very, very easy to get to. It's 22,000 hectares. It's one of the largest land packages in the province. And what's exciting is that any of the work that's been done has only been done in one little corner of the property, which is less than 10%. So we have a high-grade vein that we're currently about to put into production actually next week. That we have a current resource of 218,000 ounces, and we're going to start with that, grading at 9 grams a ton, so very high grade. But we have another 15 high-grade veins within close proximity to that vein, and still we're only talking about the 10% of the entire property. So really our story is three-part, right? One is that we have this production ready to go starting next week. That'll get us cash flowing as early as November. And then the second part is that we have a clear path to, we've done over 50,000 meters of drilling on this property since we acquired it in late 2020. So that all that data supports a clear path to 1 million+ ounces, which is the second part of our story. And the third part, of course, is there's a tremendous amount of blue sky. When we flew this property, Michael, a number of years ago, the whole thing just lit up. There's so many prospective targets, and our intention is to use that cash flow, that free cash flow, and put it back into the ground and really expand this project.
Yeah, let's do a little clarification on that, because a lot of people, because the main story here in the short term is about the mine reopening and you going into production again on the mine that sits on your property. But truly, your company is an exploration company. There is a ton of blue sky available here. And the brilliance of this particular opportunity for people is that a lot of this is going to be funded by the cash flow that's going to come out of the production out of the old mine.
Well, exactly, all of it actually. So look, that's what's exciting, right? I'm truly living every junior venture company, mining company CEO's dream, right? Everybody dreams of having some cash flow to fund their exploration, but how often do we see that? Almost never. So we're just at the perfect time here. We've been working on this for almost 5 years to get this permit, and it's so onerous. We're only one of 9 permits that have ever been issued in British Columbia in 10 years. Can you believe it? It's a very, very difficult task, but we're there. So you're absolutely right. We're really an exploration company, but we have this luxury of being able to go into production in this incredible gold market right now. We couldn't have hit it, a timing any better. And so many hits that we've had in that 50,000 meters that give us the data set to give us the confidence to go after it. That's why guys like Quinton Henney, a world-renowned geologist from, who's a technical advisor to Crescat. That's why guys like him, have looked at this project seriously. It took me a long time, by the way. It took me like 9 months in his example. It took me 9 months to get his attention. But you know what his last words were after a 90-minute technical call? You boys have a hidden gem here. He likes big. He doesn't like small mining, but he likes big projects that have the potential of big projects. And that's what they see here. So we take that free cash flow, we get going on the drilling next year, and really see what we got our hands on here, all without any shareholder dilution.
That's again, that's the brilliance of it. Let's turn our eyes to the short term. We actually had you on the cover of our July issue of the Prospector News. It's not every day that somebody has got a grand opening of a mine, and you guys did that on July the 9th. If I memory serves me correct on this precise date. Um, but here's the thing: you reopened the mine, but that didn't necessarily mean the mine was ready to do any actual mining yet. So there was still a lot of work that's going to take us up to next week when actual mining activity will begin. So tell us from the point we had the little celebration there at the mine site, reopening it, to where we're going to hit next week, what kind of work needed to be done and how much of it's completed.
Actually, all of it is completed now since we are starting next week. The main thing that we had to do was to finish our water treatment plant. We spent about $1.5 million on this. It's two parts of the water treatment plant. So the first part, took about 3.5, 4 weeks to do, and that's the high density sludge system that's up and running and been operating now. And the second part was what they call the MBBR, which is basically a bioreactor. It's a bacteria that has to get activated, and what the bacteria does is it eats away the nitrates, and the ammonia. This is the stuff that comes from the blasting. So that takes about 6 weeks to get activated, and that's what we just completed. And we just news released it a couple of days ago that that system is now ready to be commissioned and start, and that allows us to start blasting. So that was really the key that we had to kind of wait on. And then you always do kind of a soft opening in any business, right? I'm not a geologist or an engineer, as you know. So I've been involved in many different businesses, and one of the keys is always you don't want to just hit the button, do a great opening, and boom, off you go. You always want to do something, bit of a soft start. So we've taken since July 9th, we've taken a few weeks to kind of get the site prepared, the underground prepared, move some things around. Ventilation had to be moved around, a number of different things to beyond the water treatment. But that is now all complete, and we announced the other day that we will be starting underground work next Wednesday on September the 24th.
So that's the day of the big boom when the first underground blast will happen.
That is correct. We'll start blasting. We'll start doing a little bit of development work. We'll start a little bit of stockpiling of the mineralized material so that we have a little bit of a cushion, and then we'll start shipping to Nikola, who's our toll mill partner.
Wonderful. So from that first blast to the first ore shipped off to Nikola, how long a period of time will that be? And then from there on, how much ore are you going to be able to blast off in a day?
I think from next Wednesday to when we first start shipping to Nikola, we're probably looking at about 4 weeks, because what we like to do is stockpile a little bit so that just in case we have so the team is opening up another 4 faces. That's what we're going to be doing starting next Wednesday, so that we have 4 to 5 faces to work with, because in mining and just any business, you're always going to run into a little challenge here, a little challenge here. So what I don't want is that the trucks to stop, the cash, the material to stop being processed. So we're going to do a little bit. So we're going to start stockpile a little bit on site underground, and then start shipping. And then with that, we expect to be cash flowing by November, because one of the beauties with Nikola is that we ship it off, they process it very, very quickly, put it into our concentrate. The minute it gets on a truck, we get a wire. So we're just the cash flow is really now just a matter of just a handful of weeks away.
Okay. And how much ore are you guys going to produce per day out of this mine?
Oh yes, yeah. Sorry, you asked that. So so we're going to start with 100 tons a day. We'll ramp that up to our permitted our permitting max right now, which is roughly 150 a day. That will yield us 15,000 ounces in our first year, and then we plan to ramp up to 20,000 the following year. So it's going to be a very, very robust project that gives us tremendous amount of cash flow, inject a tremendous amount of free cash flow here in the very near future.
Wonderful. So we're going to now take that ore, that money, and we're going to turn it and look towards exploration. So when does the next phase of exploration, will that begin next spring after the
Yeah,
mine's been
exactly.
operating for a few months?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what I'd like to do is get the company cashed up so that, we never have to, be worried about that, and then we'll start the exploration plan. And the exploration will be twofold, right? I mean, we have a clear path, we believe, to a million plus ounces, a high grade, just on that one boulder vein that we're going to start mining on. So, part of that, we'll take a little bit of money and start do a little bit of infill so that the market can see that we are growing this resource from 218 and beyond. But we'll take a majority of the money and we'll put into exploration because we hit when we did the last drilling a couple of years ago, we had several. Well, we had one major new discovery. We need to go follow up on that, and then we had many other holes that we need to follow up on, and drill at depth. I mean, we went 200 meters below the known resource, and you know what? We hit over 3 meters of 18, almost 18 gram a ton gold and about 80 silver, right? So, by the way, there's a lot of silver here too, right? We have currently about 4-to-1 ratio to silver to gold. So we have 4 times the silver. So as silver prices move up, that's going to make a significant dent, in the bottom line as well. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, the economics of this, from when you decided you were going to do this till now, have improved dramatically with gold at record prices and silver being up dramatically from where it was when you were making this decision. So, you know, as you say, timing is exquisite, and sometimes it works in your favor.
I'll tell you, when we bought this project, it was 1350 gold, and I thought, I'm pretty confident gold's going to get to 2000, and we're going to do fantastic. I could have never imagined, 3600 gold. I mean, and by the way, I'm very conservative, so all of our base case, all of our projections, internal documents, and everything, cash flow is all based on about 2600 gold, right? So 36 is fantastic, but we want to be conservative and make sure we have a viable entity, and even at 2600 gold, I mean the numbers are very robust. We're very excited.
Yeah. Now, the exploration program for spring, has it already been planned out, or is that a work in progress?
It's mostly planned out because we've had the data for some time, so we know exactly where we need to go and drill and follow up on those holes. So no, we're ready to go. We also have the permit already in place. We have a 5-year exploration permit, so that's already in place. So nothing is really gonna get in the way here now. All we got to do is it's just a matter of time before we get the drills turning again. So that should be a very, very exciting time for the company, as we follow up on those previous results that we've already had.
Yeah. Now, you're excited. I'm excited. But a little birdie tells me that there was a major that came by to visit you in Beaver Creek, and they're excited too.
Yeah, I mean, can't talk too much about that, but a little bit high level. Look, I was intrigued, right? We took the meeting, and I was intrigued and asked the question, well, why are you meeting with us? We're just a tiny little company, and really, what I got out of that, what their answer was, look, you guys have one of the largest land packages in the province. We know this area well. We know these alkali gold systems, have a lot of potential for gold. And you guys have an 18-kilometer strike length that hasn't been tested, and you've only drilled, a couple hundred meters, below surface. So, that's all music to my ears, right? Somebody else validating what we already believe in. So, yeah, people are looking, people are intrigued, and they're interested in our little company that no one's ever heard of, right? This has been, remember, Naranda found this in the 80s. Timmins worked on it for a bit, and then it was in private hands for like 20 years. Like, no one has known about this company. We're just super under the radar. So it's nice to get that validation from larger companies, to know that they're watching and that they're studying, and they're quite intrigued about what the exploration potential of this project is.
And I'm excited for you, and I can't wait for that big blast to happen next week, and for this to all start to move forward in the way that you've described to me for the last year. So, congratulations, Rana. For those who want to continue to follow this story, how would they best do so?
The best is to just keep up to date on our website at www.bluelagoonresources.com. There's an email link there that comes to me. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to speak or answer any questions. I love engaging with our shareholders. And you know what? This really is the best time because we're sitting at a very modest 85, 90 million market cap. I mean, it's just an incredible time before all the activity starts. If anyone's interested, this is the time really to take a deeper dive and take a serious look at our company. And we trade on the CSC under BLLG and on the OTC under BLAGF.
Wonderful, Rana. I look forward to having a chat again down the road as this progresses further.
Thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you. Blue Lagoon Resources is a paid sponsor of the Prospector News. The host owns shares and warrants of Blue Lagoon Resources bought at the market for investment purposes. The Prospector News podcast is for educational purposes only. The opinions expressed are those of the participants and are not to be taken as investment advice. Listeners need to do their own due diligence and seek advice of a licensed investment advisor.